some questions for you this morning. We were going to have a test. Are you ready? All right. How much can you imagine? How much can you imagine? Have you ever explored the frontiers of your own mind, of your own life, of your own prosperity? How much can you imagine? How much can you accept? How much can you accept? Last night's Powerball, $535 million. We've all played that game, haven't we? What if I won? What if I won? How would my life change? How would my life be different? What would I do? How much would I give Scottsdale Center? Kidding. Kidding. Where'd that come from? Anyway, how much can we receive? How would your life change? How would it be different? How much are you worthy of receiving? Ooh. How much are we worthy of receiving, worthy of experiencing in our life? Loving relationships, caring friends, rewarding career, radiant health. Are we worthy of all of that good? Is it too much? How easily do you receive? Are you a gracious receiver? How easily do you receive? Do you push it away? Are you grateful for every little thing? Can you expand your comfort zone easily? Remember, we've talked about the comfort zone. If it gets too good, sometimes we sabotage. If it gets too bad, we run back into our comfort zone. You know, we need a steel gate on that lesser stuff and like a wide open gateway on the expansion part. How easily? And how much do you give? How generous are you? Not just financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. How generous are you? Do you support the people and places that you love? Kind words, kind acts. So really asking ourselves these questions can provide us some wonderful insights, can't they? On our ability to receive the good, God, same thing, into our lives. Because we've all got those places where it's hard to receive, don't we? We all have those places. It's hard to receive our good. Other places, bring it on, right? Bring it on. But some places it's a little more difficult to receive. So today we're going to be continuing our series, Living the Science of Mind, for your best day ever. Every day, of course. And my talk is A Picture's Worth a Million Words. A picture is worth a million words. And this is based on the essay that Dr. Holmes wrote in his book, Living the Science of Mind, and it's called The Law of Mental Equivalence. Now, there's a whole chapter in the textbook called Mental Equivalence. And he has quotes about mental equivalence in almost everything he wrote. I think he thought this was pretty important stuff. So we might want to take notes this morning. But what's he really talking about? What is a mental equivalent? Well, he's talking about it. He says that it means that everything that is consciously, that means we're aware of, and subjectively, subconsciously, that we embody in our thinking, tends to radiate an atmosphere, a vibration, a current of thought, energy, an inward acceptance, which automatically attracts to itself that which is like itself. That's a lot of words. Okay, so remember our first talk in this series, we talked about how much of life is circular. How much of life is circular. We used the example of the boomerang that we create in mind, and then it is brought back to us in form. That idea, that circulation, that circular. It's also known as the law of attraction. It is cause and effect. And what we focus on expands. All those things we know. All those things that we know. And we're familiar that life reflects back to us that which we be, that which we are. We can look around our lives and see kind of where our thinking is right at the moment, can't we? And sometimes that stinks, doesn't it? Sometimes that stinks. Sometimes we look around and go, I did not attract that. I did not bring that. No way. And then what do we say? Not about me, it's about them. About them, that's their stuff. Well, sometimes we have an opportunity to look a little deeper. We have an opportunity to look a little deeper. So to understand what Dr. Holmes means by creating mental equals, mental pictures, mental equivalents, we have to separate wanting from believing. We want life to be different, don't we? We want a lot of things to be different. We want different people in different offices in the political realm, perhaps. We want different breakfast foods. We want different experiences in our jobs. We want a lot of things, don't we? But there's a difference in that wanting something and receiving something, isn't there? There's a difference in that. And there's a capacity in there for how receptive are we to it? How receptive are we to it? Let's say we want a healthier, more fit body. We want a healthier, more fit body. We want loving relationships, rewarding career, abundant bank account. Those are wants, aren't they? So the basic premise of these mental equivalents comes down to our belief. And back to those opening questions, how much can we receive? How accepting are we? Another way that Holmes defines mental equivalents, you know he defines things a million different ways, so one of them will stick and we can get it. Let's try another one. Having a subjective idea of a desired experience. In other words, an idea based on or influenced by our personal tastes and opinions. We all have personal ideas, don't we? We all have personal opinions, preferences. We're all individualized and unique expressions of spirit, individual ideas about how life should express through us. Again, if we want to experience the better health and fitness, we have to have within us an idea of what that means to us, don't we? We have to know at our own beingness level, what exactly does that mean? It doesn't mean what Jillian Michaels says it means to her, right? If it did, we'd all look like her, right? And we don't. We don't. She made a career out of it. She looks amazing because of it. But if we want that, we have to have our definition of what that is for us, our embodiment of what that is for us. For some people, some of the most empowering stories we hear are of people that are completely incapacitated, whose biggest desire in life is to simply walk unaided across the street to the mailbox. Wow, that is health and fitness to them. That is health, and that is their embodied belief. If I could just do that. And to some of us, it's running the Boston Marathon. To some of us, it's running somewhere in between. I'm saying no way. Somewhere in between, right? And some of us, we're okay being on the couch. It's what is it to us that we believe, that we can accept, that willingness again, right? That willingness. Because it is done unto us as we believe. We hear it all the time. It's done unto us as we believe, as we believe. Holmes goes on to say, as we bring ourselves to a greater vision than the range of our present concepts, we can then create bigger idea and demonstrate more in our experience. I'm a golfer, and when I first started playing golf, I didn't have any skill, no confidence about playing that game. So as I continued to play it and develop some skills and confidence, I learned to play a little bit better. And what I noticed is that if I played with people who were better skilled than I was, I played better. I played up. Because I had a mental equivalent now of what it could look like to have that experience on the golf course of actually hitting a nice tee shot, of making a putt. And I began to watch them and gain that mental equal of this idea of what golf could be all about. Now, it works in the opposite too, just so you know. Because when I started to watch the pros and realized that they miss putts and they go in the water and they end up in the rough and they make bad choices too about course management, it's like, oh, well, if they do, I can too. If they mess up, that's okay for me to mess up. Right? So it works both ways. It depends on where we place our focus. We see it in professional sports. We'll see the championship team come in and expect them to be the favorite and expect them to win, and they're playing the underdog. They don't play up, but the underdog does, and they win. That's what they call upsets, isn't it? Yeah, that's what they call upsets. So Holmes goes on to tell us that the law of mental equivalence should not be overlooked, because it's the law that reflects back to us how much of this infinite thing we are to experience. He says, don't ignore it. We cannot experience more than we can accept. We cannot experience more than we can accept. However, we can expect more than we're experiencing. We can experience more than we can accept. If we're willing to start from where we are today, creating a little bigger, broader, and better mental equivalent, equal idea than where we were yesterday. Just a little bit better than yesterday. Just a little bit broader. Just a little bit more than yesterday. It's that tendency of our thinking, like we talked about last week, right? Expanding that tendency of our thinking. And just like my golf game, the more I practiced and stuck with it and played it, the more it expanded, the better it got. Still not that great, but it got a little better. If I had gone to the TPC over here, started there, I might have left my golf clubs there the first day I went, because that's a hard course, right? That's where the professionals play. I went to a little par 3 where I could figure out how far that 7-iron really goes. And I could figure out course management. I could figure out how to play that game. So start where we are. Start with what we have. I started with 0 with that. Where are we starting today? With whatever it is in your life that you're working on, where are you starting? Start where we are today and go from there. So when we have something in our heart, our mind that we desire, an idea of a concept, maybe it's a new home or a new car, or maybe it's a loving relationship, or maybe it's greater success, or maybe it's peace on our planet, peace in our heart, peace in our family. Whatever that might be, we have a desire for something greater within us. It's okay to want more, to desire more, to have that dream within us. It's okay. Because that's called evolution, isn't it? That's how we all grow and expand, is that desire for something more. Those desires are planted within our heart by Spirit itself for the onward evolution and the expansion in our own personal growth. We need to listen to those. We need to listen to those. One of the keys to the process is understanding that the experience, really, of what it is that we're seeking. Right? Remember that idea of wanting versus believing? It's the experience. If I am seeking, let's make a crazy example, a new car, and I want a Ferrari. That's it. I want a Ferrari because it's fast, it's red, it's convertible. If I just want that, and I don't know why I want that, I don't know what it's going to feel like to want that, I don't know what it's going to feel like to have it in my driveway, my garage, driving it, it's going to stay out here in the land of want, isn't it? Because the universe is going to keep saying what? Oh, you like that wanting stuff. Here's some more. Want, 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 want. I stole that from Kathy Ann Lewis. If we believe and we know the feeling, what is it going to feel like? Do I have the capacity to receive that vehicle, that home, that relationship, that health? Do I have the capacity to receive that, to feel that, to know in my heart the absolute feeling nature of what that is to me, for me, through me? When I can get that, it's going to show up, isn't it? It's going to show up. If I'm looking for a new home, and I know that I want this new home for my family because my family's expanding and I need more space, I need more rooms. And I know what that's going to mean to my family and the connectivity and the love and the joy and all the things that we're going to experience in that home. When I know that feeling of it, that's not over here in the land of want anymore. If I'm downsizing, if my children are gone and I'm downsizing, I need a smaller home. And I know what that's going to do for me. It's going to free me up from maintenance. It's going to free me up from having all that extra space around that's empty. And I want to be smaller, more compact, and more efficient, and maybe use some of those funds I've freed up to travel or whatever that might be. If I know this, and I know how that's going to feel to me, what it's going to mean to my life to do that, that's how the manifestation occurs. It's not over here in the land of want anymore. It's not in the land of want anymore. You might know the idea of mental equivalence by a thing called visualization. Some of you took our Genevieve Barond class on your invisible power, where we talked exclusively about visualization and how we did that. Ernest Holmes talks about it. They both studied under Judge Thomas Troward and use his process, but Holmes puts more of his focus on the power of our mind and faith. He calls this, what I'm describing, as this belief, this underlying feeling within us. Holmes calls that faith. And faith is that idea of not having any doubt about what it is we're thinking, what it is we're feeling, what it is we're creating within us. Creates first in mind and then in form, right? First in mind and then in form. Remember the music stand? Yeah. So how can we create mental equivalence in our life to really empower our use of this creative process? We need to answer those questions, don't we? We need to start to move through those questions of how much do I use the power of my imagination? How much can I receive? How generous am I? How much am I practicing the law of circulation in my life? How receptive am I to the good? How generous am I? Holmes uses an example of a water pipe in the essay, and he's talking about if you've got a 1-inch line, if you think about the line that comes into your house, these are all different sizes, and you can envision that a little bit of water comes through the smaller pipe and a whole bunch of water comes through the bigger pipe. Well, the bigger pipe is like spirit, always giving, always on, always available, always there, always giving the gift. But we sometimes show up with a teacup, don't we? We sometimes show up with a teacup, and sometimes that teacup's really, really full already. And we can't receive any more. We can't receive any more. So we need to look about how much we can receive, knowing that we've always got that large quantity available to us of peace, of love, of joy, of harmony, of prosperity, all of that. I was listening to Edwene Gaines yesterday. I just love her, and she was talking about her definition of prosperity and how it includes everything. It's not just financial prosperity, and I think we think of that a lot of times. When we hear the word prosperity, we think money. Well, money's a part of it, sure, but it's prosperity in our health. It's prosperity in our relationships. It's prosperity in our creativity, our friendships. It's having that idea of a prosperous outlook on life. So again, back to the tendency of our thinking. We talked last week. The tendency of our thinking. It's not just the times we're speaking our affirmations. It's not just those moments when we're saying our prayers. It is the idea of pray without ceasing and being in that positive realm and the tendency of our thinking all the time. Because if we're over here doing our prayer and our affirmation, and that takes practitioners 3 to 5 minutes for a prayer, yes, okay. What about the other 23 hours and 55 minutes? What are you thinking? What's the tendency? What's the tendency? Or is it in the land of want? Is it in the land of knowing, in the land of believing? So how do we get there? How do we get there? How do we get into that place of believing? Well, we talked last week again about using gratitude as one of the tools and the processes to get us there, to focus on the gratitude for something that we already have in our life and bring into that which we are seeking to have experience more of. and add it to it. Add it to it. Another way to do this is through that idea of a picture's worth a million words. If you can't quite get a full visual or a feeling in particular about that which you're looking to experience in your life, find a picture of it that does. Find a picture of it that does communicate that feeling to you. Now, it's not going to be specific. If you're manifesting a home, it's not going to be that house on the corner is the one that it's going to be that feeling of family, if that's what we're looking for, or that feeling of the sky-high penthouse, if that's what we're looking for, with the view of the lights and the beach and whatever it might be. It's going to be the feeling that it creates in you so that you can anchor and affirm in that energy of the feeling nature of it in order to then have that attracted to you, have that attracted into us. It's not the want, it's the feeling of it. It's the faith back of it that we are focusing on. Holmes says that this process, unfortunately, is not overnight. He says it takes time, patience, and perseverance. It's sometimes a long and arduous process because we can't change all the patterns of our thought in a moment. Well, that's the bad news. Rather, he says, it's a process that takes place little by little until gradually our old thought patterns become transformed into new ones by some inner alchemy of the mind. And I think we can speed that up by being present, by doing our practices. See, I get it in every week. Got to do your practices. By doing our practices and using some of these tools and techniques that we're talking about. I know many of us have had that experience as we've come into this teaching and we've watched our thinking change. We've watched our lives change. Can I speak to you? Yes. I mentioned Lisa earlier. I don't know if you watched this transformation of this woman in the last 8 months. She has transformed her body, her eating habits and everything, and she's amazingly fit. And she did it through the power of focusing on her mind, her thoughts, changing her thinking, changing her life. It's possible. It's possible. I've been in this teaching 18 years, and I can look over my life and see the many, many, many changes. And I know many of you have been in it longer, and I know that you have had the same experiences in your life. It works. It works. I've been telling you all year that my mantra has become, if I want something different in my life, I must be different. I can't continue the same cycle of thoughts and habits, the same actions and activities that I have had, and expect a different result. That's the definition of crazy, right? Yes. Doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. Well, gee, after 18 years, it's not an overnight process, I finally embodied that to the point of I've got to make different choices. I've got to have different thoughts. I've got to behave differently if I want to have a different experience. And then the other piece of that is this thought or this action, this activity that I am participating in this moment supporting my vision? That was fascinating that came out of our visualization workshop, to really recognize how frequently during the day my thoughts would revert back to something that wasn't supporting that new vision. We have the power. So this is why willingness to receive is so important for us. We have so much power at our disposal to create the life of our dreams. We really do. We have this power at our disposal if we consciously choose to use it. Consciously choose to use it, to be an active participant. But sometimes we get stuck in our own beliefs, don't we? We get stuck on that hamster cage of our own beliefs, and we can't see our way clear. We have lifelines in this community, and your practitioners and your ministers, each other, to have those conversations. I'm stuck. I need help. I need support. Otherwise, we do stay stuck in that same old cycle. We draw from the same well. We're in the same loop, the same behavior, the same results over and over. Reverend Glenn mentioned our study group this Wednesday that we've been having for the last 2 weeks, and we had a really powerful conversation around this in that group, and I'll share with you. And it was about how we continually go back to our old reactions. We have this drawer. Anybody remember the old, let's see, everybody in here, no, well, not everybody. Many are old enough to remember the library and the index card things, right? Remember those? We have those within us. Let's just imagine we have those within us, and they're filled with our reactions, things that have happened to us in the past. And anytime something happens, we go back to that old drawer and we pull that out. Because there's so much happening in this material world of effects that we can't do all of it and process all of it in our conscious mind, can we? I mean, just running these bodies is a full-time job. The heart, the blood, the brain, the kidneys, all the stuff that has to happen. So our subconscious is doing that for us. Thank goodness, right? Don't think about that. Well, then as we're growing up, what happens? We begin to have experiences, and it's when that happens, ooh, I need to protect myself there. I need to run here. I need to fight here. We have all of these reactions to things that happen that we file away in these drawers. And then when that same feeling happens again, 40 years later, we go, what? We don't think. We go to the drawer. We go to the drawer and we pull out the same reaction we had last time. That maybe we made the decision when we were 7. Have you talked to 7-year-olds lately? You know, are those the decisions that you really want running your life? So the question is it time to clean out some drawers? Is it time to empty some buckets? Is it time to make room to receive what you really believe at the conscious level, at that subconscious level? Because those drawers are subconscious, aren't they? Those drawers are subconscious. One of the people in the group said, you know, it's like my junk drawer at home. It's like, yeah, who's got a junk drawer? You know, I think we all have a junk drawer, right? Yeah. We have those in here too. We have those in here too. So, let's move into practices this week. See how we can apply this stuff and actually clean out some drawers maybe. Number 1, start where you are, because you can't start anyplace else, right? We want to start at the top of the mountain. I want to be up there. But we have to start wherever we are. We have to start wherever we are. Answer the questions. How much can you imagine? How much can you accept? How worthy are you of receiving? How easily do you receive? Am I a resistant receiver? We've talked about that. How much do you give, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Are you generous? Are you generous of heart? With your words and your actions? Are you kind? It's on our t-shirt. Be kind anyway. Are you kind? And don't beat yourself up with the answers to these questions. Don't beat yourself up. Start where you are. Start where you are. We all have room to grow. Decide what you want to experience and build your faith. Decide what you want to experience and then build your faith in that experience at the mental level, at the emotional, at the heart level. Create a process for yourself every day. Back to spiritual practices. Create a process for yourself every day that you can grow into the acceptance and embodiment of that experience. It becomes more and more real to us, doesn't it? We hear these stories all the time. If you've got a dream, people that are motivated by their dreams, their goals and their aspirations, they're fired up people, aren't they? I mean, you've seen them. Get out of their way. They're going to achieve what they've set their minds to because they believe it so wholeheartedly in their hearts that they know it to be so true. They know it to be so true. And again, it's done unto us as we believe it should be done unto us. Nobody else, only us. So how do we believe? And then number 3, get a picture, create a feeling. Get a picture, create a feeling. If it's true that a picture's worth 1,000,000 words, this can be an easy way. We do vision boards around here, right? And those can stay up on our walls. We can take pictures of those. But we can also use our technology to just have a file of photographs that emote in us those feelings of what it is that we're seeking to experience in our life. If it's peace, would we not have a little file of just peace? If we're seeking harmony, if we're seeking creativity, imagine if you were an artist and you were seeking creativity and you had just this beautiful file of beautiful artwork that you could just immerse yourself in and just bathe in that beauty. That's the way we can create that feeling nature within us. So Ernest Holmes tells us that the law of mental equivalence means that there shall be within the body of our thinking not only an acceptance of the good, not only the acceptance of the good, we say, yeah, I'll take that, I'll accept that, but the inward experience of what it means to us. So we're back to that meaning again. What does it mean to us? What does it mean to us? A real sense and a real feeling that we now possess it. Perhaps it's time to step over the obstacles of resistance in our life and allow life to flow through us with that 12-inch pipe. I want to close this out this morning with our prayer. And in the end of the chapter in The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes has he calls it a meditation. It's really the realization step of an affirmative prayer. So I'm going to use that this morning because I think his words are beautiful and they are the end of the chapter. So I'm going to invite you to join me in prayer this morning. And also, as we're moving into this, begin to think about what that desire is within you that is seeking to have its way made manifest through you as that expression of the divine. So just take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. So recognizing that there is only that one power, that one presence, that one life, and that life is God. It is the infinite expression of love and peace, of joy, of harmony. It is all that is, was, or ever shall be. And I'm delighted that it is all here now present in, through, and as me, as an expression of it, as it is in, through, and as each person in this room, each person within the sound of my voice, in, through, and as the very air that we breathe. For God is all that there is. It is the one, and we are the one in form. And so I invite you now to bring into your heart, breathing into your heart, into your mind, that feeling or that picture of that which you desire, that which you are willing to receive, that which you know and believe you shall receive. For it is done unto us as we believe, as we listen to Ernest's beautiful words. I know I am now at the threshold of all good, wisdom, and truth. All the good I can embody is now mine. I have only to open the portals of my soul and accept that which is ready to express through me. I expect fully and emphatically the answer to my prayer today. Right now, do I possess this thing I so greatly desire. I remove my fear of lack and negation, for it is the only barrier which stands in the way of my experience of good. I alone can remove it, and I do remove it now. In this moment, my good comes to me, enough to spare, to give, and to share. I can never be exhausted. My good can never be depleted, because that source from which my good comes is inexhaustible. Today, in this moment, the law responds to my thought. My word is one of affirmation, rising from the knowledge that the good, the enduring, and the true are eternalities in my experience. I cannot be apart from that which is my good, My good is assured me by God, the indwelling essence of my life. How grateful we are for this knowing, for this receptivity, for this manifestation of this prayer for each and every one, individualized and unique in this room right now. I know, claim, and accept that manifestation for each of us. I also speak the word this day for peace, accepting that in my heart as peace on our planet, peace in our country, peace among nations. It begins with each and every one of us as individuals, as expressions of that. So I gratefully release this prayer into the action of law, knowing that the word spoken is the word made manifest. I accept it as already made manifest in the mind of God, and we eagerly await its manifestation in our lives. We affirm this together by saying, and so it is.